Okay, in this video we are going to work on adding and subtracting decimals. Okay, so we're going to start with adding decimals. So as you can see, number 1 here, you're going to line up the decimal points, then you're going to fill in any zeros needed, you're going to add as usual. Last step would be to bring down the decimal point. So we have an example there. I'm going to do another example over here on the side. So if I have 13 and 2/10 and I want to add to that 4 and 65 hundredths, what I am going to do is first of all line these up by decimal point. Nice and neat. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is fill in any zero placeholders that are needed. So right here would be a zero placeholder and one right here. Okay, so everything lines up nice. I'm going to go ahead now and add. 0 plus 5 is 5, 2 plus 6 is 8, 3 plus 4 is 7, 1 plus 0 is 1. My decimal comes straight down. There's my answer, 17 and 85 hundredths. Okay. One thing that is really helpful many times with adding or subtracting decimals is graph paper. So if you are a student that has a hard time keeping your work neat and lining things up, ask your teacher for some graph paper. We can give you that to keep in your binder or in your folder to do your work. Okay, so this example, what we're going to do is we are going to subtract decimals. Okay, so again, our steps are the same. Number 1, you're going to line up by decimal point. Again, fill in any zero placeholders needed. Then you're going to subtract and bring your decimal straight down. So I'm going to go with an example. Let's go 8 and 3 hundredths minus 5 and 12 hundredths. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do, let's line that up. So now, as you can see, I don't need to fill in any zero placeholders in this example. I'm going to go ahead and start subtracting. So 3 minus 2 is 1. Oh, I can't take 1 from 0, so I'm going to have to regroup. So my 8 becomes a 7. My 0 is going to become a 10. 10 minus 1 is 9. 7 minus 5 is 2. Decimal straight down. 2 and 91 hundredths. Okay? So there's that. I'm going to get rid of that. One other thing, as you can see in that example shown, I'm going to do one similar to that because I do see mistakes with this sometimes. So I'm going to say 7 minus 4 and 35 hundredths. So again, the decimal point on any number, any whole number, is directly after it. Okay? It's invisible. It's one of those invisible math rules. If you were in my classroom, you would have seen that poster up on the wall. So I'm going to fill in a 0 after that for right now. 7.0 minus 4 and 35 hundredths. Okay, I need another zero placeholder right there. So I call this the double borrow, and many mistakes are made on the double borrow. Okay, so you need to be very careful when you're doing this. Don't just automatically start crossing stuff out and borrowing like a robot. Pay attention to what you're doing and go slow, place value by place value, to ensure that you're doing this properly. Okay. Another thing, common mistake, and I'm going to show you this right now. So this is probably the number one mistake I see, and I usually see it at younger grades, but I still am getting this in 6th grade from time to time. You cannot, under any circumstances, subtract up. Okay? That's a no. So you can't say 5 minus 0 is 5, 3 minus 0 is 3, and then make this a 3. That doesn't work. Okay? That's a no. You cannot do that. Do not, I repeat, do not subtract up. It does not work that way. Alright, so here we go on the double borrow. So I can't take 5 from 0. I can't borrow from 0. So I need to come over here to my 7. My 7 is going to become a 6. This 0 then is going to become a 10. Okay? Now, I can say, oh, I can't take 5 from 0. However, now I can come next door to this tenths place and borrow from 10. So now 10 is going to become a 9. This 0 will become a 10. Okay? 10 minus 5 is 5. 9 minus 3 is 6. 6 minus 4 is 2. Decimal comes straight down. Okay? Now, can I check that work? I absolutely can. I'm going to say 4.35, 435 hundredths, plus 2 and 65 hundredths. 5 plus 5 is 10. I'm going to regroup my 1. 6 plus 3 is 9, plus 1 is 10. I'm going to regroup my 1. 4 plus 1 is 5, plus 2 is 7. Look, it checks out. My answer is correct. Okay? So that's really all there is to adding and subtracting decimals. I showed you a check. I showed you how to do the borrowing and the regrouping. And I showed you a few common mistakes. Again, graph paper can be one of your best friends when you are adding and subtracting decimals. Okay, I hope that was helpful. That was a pretty quick, easy video. Okay, thanks guys.